Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about narcissistic men and women, okay? And it was kind of spurred on by a comment I saw, not on my video, not on any of my videos, but it was just a comment I saw written, and it really bothered me, okay? Because it was basically blaming the victim, and that happens quite a lot. People blame the victim of the victim of narcissistic abuse. But sometimes the person who is being blamed can be narcissistic too, or histrionic. Okay, but the thing about it is, one of the things that I also thought about was how some people will, notice the word some, not all. Some will take something that, like, they've had an experience with something that was negative, and they think that anybody who does anything like that should be blamed, or they take that one experience and they generalize it over all, and then they'll stereotype people in the along the way, and for them it's all. One does it, all of them do it. And that's not how this life works. Or if one doesn't do it, then they all won't do it. No, that's a very, very negative way of looking at the world, at people. Is one is all. So, yeah, and it doesn't have to be, based on ethnicity or gender or age or religion, whatever. It can be based on many things, okay? Okay, but no matter what, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, and that's a really negative thing to do, really bad thing to do, is to stereotype people based on your own experience or experiences. Just because it's happened to you, that doesn't mean that they all do that. So, it's like when people, they say this or that town, all the people live in that town are, and then they fill in the blank, and no, not everybody there is that way. Do you know everybody there? Do you have some kind of, even to say most, do you know that for a fact? Is there some research on it that you know for a fact? Not fiction, not just what you think, not just how you see it, not what is, the number and the people that you've run across. But some people will do that. They say, oh, because what I see is this, therefore it's all who do that. Now, I want to say all that before I talk about what it was that truly bothered me. And this is something that for many years I have heard people talk about since I probably was a child. And I've seen it happen myself. I've seen it happen to people I know and all that. But that doesn't make it all. It doesn't make everybody in the world. Yeah, all of them will do that. No. Okay. And it's basically, let me get to this. And too many people that I have heard, that doesn't make all, too many I've heard, they stereotype men when they're going through, they say a midlife crisis. They have a stereotype. And I've heard this since I was a child. And I've never heard one for women. I say that most of the women I know, that doesn't mean all, it means one I know, during midlife, they changed careers. I did. But just because I see that doesn't make everybody see it. I'm going to keep driving that home. Anyway, but they say that, one of them was that men, saying they're really in their late 40s and then their 50s, and sometimes even into their 60s. They, have this red convertible sports car or something like that, and whatever kind of car to make them seem younger. And they also want to date younger women, and they might leave their wives of many, many years, and for a younger woman, and it's such a stereotype. And no, not all of them do that. Okay, some men might not even experience anything Some women might not experience any kind of certain thing, but some people will stereotype. Anyway, the comment now. Okay, before I go to the comment, now let's talk about the young women who get with these older men. What about them? I've heard of stereotypes. One of them, the major one I've always heard was gold digger. Bad. That's bad? It's bad. Yeah. Now, do either one on either side of this exist? Both of them do. But that doesn't make them all. That doesn't make all women, young women who get with older men or gold diggers or get with men who are even slightly older. I remember back when I was dating some men were just real open about it. And they said, yeah, they want to date younger women. And they just felt entitled. And a lot of what they would say is that they felt that they worked hard, actually say it, that they worked hard all their life to get to where they are. So they want a younger woman to show that they got it all. Wow. That doesn't make all men do that. That doesn't mean that they all do. These ones who did, they did. And they saw her as a trophy wife. That's where it came from, trophy wife. And at least from what I understand. And so they want somebody younger. Just to fit, boost their egos. Okay, kind of lost my train of thought there. But I've known men who, men when I was dating, they would say such a thing. Really, it was like, wow. They just have the nerve just to say it. They deserve it. There's that sense of entitlement. And they're objectifying her, of course. They're making her an object that he deserves. And but what about the women? One of the things that I was going with that was men would say, well, so many of these women are, they didn't say young, they just said women, were gold diggers. I can remember saying at least to one of them, if she were a gold digger, a true gold digger, she wouldn't be after you. Bust his ego. Seriously. Think about the nerve, of some men to say, that every woman, all the women I've run across, on these dating websites and such, that they're all gold diggers. Like as if he's that wealthy, Oh my goodness, some of the nerve of what some of these men had told me. I could write a book, several novels. Now I didn't date women, so I wouldn't know what the flip side. And when I would hear a man sometimes, say stuff about these women like that, I would say, yeah, what are you up to? One of the things I started to learn was not all of them, doesn't mean all, was that they were really, some of them were really good at projection. Whatever they were saying bad about their ex, I said, that's what he does. That's what he's doing. Too often, not always. Drive it home. Anyway, now, what about these young women? Now, I've actually known, seen this happen. I've actually seen a younger man marry an older woman, too. And, in fact, it was one of my family members. So I've seen both ways. And what is it about them? It could be many things. Some of them, like a younger woman has, like people say, daddy issues. There's some people who say that any kind of romantic relationship you get into is simply trying to fix a bad relationship you had with one of your parents. So you get with somebody like that parent. I always thought that was such a bad way of thinking. And that was, again, one of those generalizations that anybody who does it, that's what they do. I don't think like that. This is really not a good way to think. Now, I've listened to a lot of people do it. I have to catch myself now because hearing so many say that, not all, but so many. Yeah, it can become habit. You hear somebody say, always, none, everybody, nobody, never, these types of words. So You might not. But okay, anyway, I do have a few distractions around me. So there is a baby lizard that lives right next to that shrub. I do believe that baby lizard just stays there. Doesn't move from that one spot for a long while. And there are other distractions going on. Anyway, but the comment, now to get to that basically, it was an older woman, okay, probably my age, said about, now the story goes that it was an older man. He was, making passes at this younger woman, and the question was something along the line, what do you think about that? Now, he was basically feeding her a line of BS. And it was all about him. When I was dating, I remember that. Like I said, I didn't date women, so I don't know. But it was always about what he wanted. Like a profile. Not, see, there I go, always. But often, the profile for that type would be all about him. What he wants, how he is, and what he expects from, like if he wanted children. If he, on and on about what he wants. What he wanted her to be like, what he wanted her to do this. Now, that's a profile. That's not saying anything about yourself other than what you want. And anyway. So, basically it was something like that. What he expected and what he wanted. And at the same time trying to be like caring and, loving. And, well, I don't want children, but... so I want to make sure you're up for this. I don't want them. I won't have them. So, yeah, think about that. But anyway, the comment made by a woman around my age was that the woman that he was making passes at, and it was apparently more than one, because that's what he did. But anyway, any woman, no, the answer, the comment was, any woman who would fall for that has to be a bimbo. Now, that's an old-fashioned term, bimbo. Wrong as it is. But let's think about that. Is that blaming the victim? Yes. And some of these women, do you really think that some of these women really want that are really asking for older men to, hit them up? I remember one that I was on that they changed it to where the person couldn't go, I think it was something like 15 years younger than their age or older than their age. So, just to try to help combat that. And so one man, he proudly told me he just made a new account and changed his age to much younger. Really? But does that make them all do that? No. Does that mean that all of them do that? No. Okay. But the type of person who would do that, what's going on with them? Who would say such a thing? What's going on with them? It could be that they had their own kind of experience, and then therefore they're taking, she could have been married to somebody who did that to her, so she's taking it out on any quote unquote, her term for it, bimbo. Any young woman that's going to go for an old man, to her is a bimbo. Or who would fall for it is a bimbo. And it's just wrong to generalize somebody. Now, okay, there could be many other things going on. I mean, that young woman, like I said, could have, the one that would go for an older man could have daddy issues, could have just maybe fell for the line of BS. Some call it love bombing. A lot of BS to me. And could have fallen for it. That man could be really zoning in on what he thinks she wants and needs, and her likes and dislikes, so he can do that. Now, how many of us who have been victims of this type would then turn around. Not an older man. It could be any man or any woman. Whatever is yours. How many could really then turn around and say, well, the next one who fell for him or her, is a bimbo. Or is not bimbo, but is a fool. Well, what were you? Are you going to put the same label on yourself? That you were a fool? Some would. Yeah. Some might. Okay, these are master manipulators. They are master manipulators. I really do not like using that word fool, but we do use the term like we're fooled by them because they are, but really it's that they are the master manipulators. They some of them really have honed their skills over the years, especially the older ones. In my view, in my experience, they really have it down pat. So why do people want to blame the victim? Now that's a whole video, but like I said, some of the reasons could be such as, like I've already mentioned, they may have been hurt by someone, or that same one had was that type to go out for somebody else while they're in a relationship, and they were burned. So then they say anybody who falls for him, well, she is this or he is that, But I've seen it, I've heard it, I've read it too much, far too much, often. So put yourself, where's the empathy? Where are you putting yourself into their shoes? Weren't you in that same boat yourself one time before? Like I just said. But it's easy. It can be, for some people, easy to do because their heart feelings are still there and they haven't been worked through and processed through. And plus, you might hear that from your friends or family or somebody else, but they've already seen what that person put you through. They should be saying, okay, that person put you through that, so that he or she's going on and doing it to other people. But some people will try to, calm you by saying, well, that person's just a this, just a that. The next one in line, the next victim. But I do know, it's not that easy. I've experienced it, and what we hear so much from others in our social circle, or you read online, you hear online, something like that comment, it seems it becomes more like, oh, well, that is what it is. That's the norm. That is not the norm. Okay? Don't make it the norm. Don't normalize that. So, anyway, I think that's enough for this video. And hopefully, I don't know if I'll do another one on it. that really did get to me. Because I do, like I said, I have seen more and more of people who are blaming the next one, the next person he or she victimizes. And some of them, they are to blame. There are gold digging women. There are also gold digging men. So I do not like that term, though. Anyway, I think I covered it all. I think. I'll talk to you on another video.